Have you ever wondered which American cars everyone used and loved in the 1980s, but eventually faded away and were forgotten? In this video, we'll take a look at the American cars from the 1980s that were once popular but have since disappeared from memory. If you're ready, let's get started. Number 20, 1987 Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. In 1987, the Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe was the kind of car that whispered performance rather than screamed it. A part of the 9th generation Thunderbird lineup, this sleeper coupe came equipped with a 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, producing 190 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque. It was the same engine found in the Mustang SVO, paired with a 5-speed manual and rear-wheel drive. Unlike its V8 siblings, the Turbo Coupe aimed to blend European-style handling with American flair. Ford equipped it with an independent rear suspension, anti-lock brakes, rare for the time, and adjustable shocks, which gave it surprisingly nimble handling for a mid-size coupe. The car wasn't loud, but it had a raspy, force-fed sound that made it stand out to enthusiasts. Though overshadowed by the Mustang and ignored by muscle purists, the Turbo Coupe offered a unique mix of tech, control, and turbocharged excitement. Today, it remains an underappreciated gem of 1980s engineering. Number 19, 1982 Dodge 400. Released in 1982, the Dodge 400 was Chrysler's attempt to inject luxury into the midsize K-car platform. It wasn't exactly revolutionary, but it carried the bones of what saved Chrysler during its darkest years. Powered by a modest 2.2-liter inline-4 or optional Mitsubishi Source 2.6-liter, the car produced around 93 to 100 horsepower, far from thrilling, but what it lacked in raw muscle, it made up for in refinement. The Dodge 400 was available as a sedan, coupe, or even a convertible, the latter being one of the few American ragtops of its era. Its interior was surprisingly plush for its price range, with velour seats, wood grain trim, and digital clock features that felt upscale in 1982. It was quiet, soft riding, and affordable. While it didn't create much buzz among enthusiasts, it was well liked by the average buyer who wanted comfort without excess. Today, the Dodge 400 is a ghost of Chrysler's past, a car that helped hold the company together, but faded from memory as quickly as it arrived. Number 18, 1987 Cadillac Alente. The 1987 Cadillac Alente was a bold statement, an American attempt at building a true European-style luxury roadster. Cadillac commissioned Italian design house Pininfarina to style the body, which was then built in Italy and flown to Detroit for final assembly. Yes, flown. Each Alente body made the transatlantic trip aboard specially modified Boeing 747s, part of a process Cadillac dubbed the Alente Air Bridge. Under the hood, it featured a 4.1-liter V8 pushing 170 horsepower through a front-wheel drive layout. That disappointed performance purists, but the real charm of the Alente lay in its sleek design, leather-wrapped luxury interior, digital dash, and fully electronic climate control. It was Cadillac's tech showcase and cost over $50,000 new, a hefty sum in 1987. Unfortunately, its performance didn't match its price tag. Still, it captured the ambition of 1980s GM, aiming to take on Mercedes and Jaguar. Today, the Alente is a beautiful oddity, part exotic, part American luxury, and fully forgotten. Number 17, ASC McLaren Mercury Capri. In the mid-1980s, ASC American Sunroof Company and McLaren teamed up to create a uniquely American take on the Euro-styled performance convertible, the ASC McLaren Capri. Based on the Mercury Capri, itself a cousin to the Mustang, the ASC McLaren was a limited-run, hand-built custom convertible that combined muscle car roots with bespoke flair. It was available only in a 2-seat configuration and powered by a 5.0-liter V8, producing 210 horsepower. With a custom suspension setup, upgraded wheels, and a distinctive look, the ASC McLaren Capri had the performance to match its exotic appearance. Only around 1,800 units were ever made between 1984 and 1986, making it exceptionally rare. The styling was sleek, flush headlights, unique paint options, and a tastefully aggressive stance. It wasn't mass market, it was made for collectors and people who wanted something truly different. The car has been largely forgotten outside of Mustang circles, but it remains a testament to 1980s design excess and boutique performance. Number 16, 1983 Pontiac 6000 STE. When it launched in 1983, the Pontiac 6000 STE, short for Special Touring Edition, was GM's shot at competing with the BMW 3 Series. Built on the A-body platform, the STE was more than just another front-wheel drive midsize sedan. Pontiac gave it advanced suspension tuning, upgraded brakes, a digital dashboard, and even an optional onboard trip computer, features that were highly advanced for the time. Power came from a fuel-injected 2.8-liter V6, delivering 135 horsepower. It wasn't lightning fast, but it felt refined and responsive, especially with its sport-tuned suspension. The STE rode firm, handled corners well, and surprised many reviewers who had written off GM sedans as bland. Visually, it stood out with unique alloy wheels, fog lights, and subtle body cladding. It created a buzz in 1983 as a genuine driver's sedan from Pontiac, even earning Motor Trend accolades. Sadly, its legacy faded as the import market dominated the sporty sedan scene, but in its day, the 6000 STE was quietly revolutionary. Number 15, 1984 Plymouth Reliant. The 1984 Plymouth Reliant may not turn heads today, but back in the 80s, it was one of Chrysler's most important cars. As part of the famed K cars, the Reliant helped pull Chrysler back from the brink of bankruptcy. Powered by a humble 2.2-liter inline-4 engine producing just around 84 horsepower, the Reliant wasn't built for speed, but for reliability and fuel efficiency. With a 3-speed automatic or a 4-speed manual, it offered decent drivability for its class. The boxy exterior and modest trim options reflected the conservative design trends of early 80s America. While critics didn't praise it for performance, it was loved for its affordability and practicality. In 1984, families looking for economical transport flocked to the Reliant, making it one of the top-selling compact sedans in the US. Though it lacked excitement, the Reliant's historical significance in saving Chrysler from collapse makes it an unsung hero of the decade. Number 14, Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2. Built to meet NASCAR homologation requirements, the 1986 Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2 was far from an ordinary street car. With only around 1,200 units produced, this special edition Grand Prix featured a radically sloped rear window, unique front nose cone, and aerodynamic enhancements for better track performance. Under the hood was a 5.0-liter V8 engine, making 165 horsepower, mated to a 3-speed automatic. While not fast by today's standards, its real magic was in its styling, clearly aimed at reducing drag on the NASCAR oval. The 2+2 was often compared to the Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aerocoupe, its corporate cousin and on-track rival. Though most buyers weren't thrilled by the low power output, enthusiasts admired its rarity and race-bred looks. In the 1980s, it was a symbol of Pontiac's performance legacy. Today, it stands as a rare gem that many muscle car fans forget ever existed. Number 13, Ford Mustang SVO. The 1984 Ford Mustang SVO was a bold departure from tradition. At a time when V8s were considered essential to performance, Ford's Special Vehicle Operations team delivered a turbocharged 2.3-liter inline-4 producing 175 horsepower, more than some V8s of the era. Paired with a 5-speed manual and rear-wheel drive, the SVO handled like a European sports car. It featured adjustable Coney shocks, 4-wheel disc brakes, and a unique biplane rear spoiler. The signature offset hood scoop hinted at its turbocharged heart. While some Mustang purists turned their nose up at the 4-cylinder engine, others embraced its precision engineering. The SVO was ahead of its time, offering balance, speed, and handling in a refined package. In 1984, it was a misunderstood performer, more expensive than a GT but far more sophisticated. Today, the SVO is a hidden treasure among Fox body Mustangs. Number 12, Ford Mustang McLaren M81. One of the rarest Fox body Mustangs ever built, the 1981 Ford Mustang McLaren M81 was a wild experiment in limited production. Only 10 units were made, making it a true unicorn of the decade. Built in collaboration with McLaren engines, the M81 featured a heavily modified 2.3-liter turbocharged engine, cranking out 175 horsepower. Impressive for its time. The body was radically redesigned with wide fender flares, a functional hood scoop, unique front fascia, and bright orange paint. Inside, it came with Recaro seats, a roll bar, and other racing-inspired touches. Though expensive at over $25,000 in 1981, the M81 was aimed at serious enthusiasts. Unfortunately, the price tag and wild design limited its success. Today, it's nearly forgotten, but for those who remember, the M81 was a bold, neon-colored dream that screamed 1980s excess and ambition. Number 11. 1988 Buick Riata. The 1988 Buick Riata was GM's vision of a modern American personal luxury coupe. Hand-built in a special Lansing craft center, the Riata aimed to blend performance, style, and high-tech features into a sleek two-door package. Powered by a 3.8-liter V6 with 165 horsepower, it wasn't a sports car, but offered smooth cruising and refined comfort. What really set the Riata apart was its futuristic interior. The 1988 model came with a touchscreen CRT display that controlled climate, audio, and vehicle diagnostics, ahead of its time by decades. With a focus on technology and hand-built quality, Buick positioned the Riata as a premium, driver-focused alternative to European GTs. However, its steep price and modest power limited its popularity. In its day, it was a tech-savvy oddball. Today, it's a forgotten gem, remembered mostly by collectors and digital dashboard fans. Number 10. Chrysler Learon Town and Country Convertible. With faux wood paneling that harkened back to classic station wagons, the 1982 Chrysler Learon Town and Country Convertible was one of the quirkiest yet most charming cars of the 1980s. This convertible was Chrysler's attempt to mix traditional American design with a sense of quirky luxury, and it worked for a time. Based on the K platform, it featured a front-wheel drive layout and came with either a 2.2-liter inline-4 or a Mitsubishi Source 2.6-liter engine. While not a powerhouse with horsepower peaking around 93 to 100 horsepower, it was all about cruising, not racing. The look was unforgettable. Simulated wood grain trim, a boxy stance, and a soft top made it feel like a beach car for the suburban elite. In 1982, it stood out as one of the few convertibles available during a time when such body styles were nearly extinct. While mocked by some for its appearance, it gained a cult following and remains a nostalgic icon of 80s automotive eccentricity. Number 9. 1982 Mercury LN7. Often overshadowed by its Ford EXP sibling, the 1982 Mercury LN7 was a sporty two-seater hatchback that was never truly understood. With its futuristic bubble-back rear glass and wedge-shaped design, it screamed 1980s optimism. Built on the Escort platform, it housed a modest 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine producing just 80 horsepower. But the LN7 was never about speed, it was about style and individuality. It was Mercury's first and only two-seater, designed to appeal to young buyers looking for something stylish yet affordable. Unfortunately, with sluggish performance and quirky looks, it failed to gain traction, with fewer than 40,000 units ever produced. Still, for those who drove it, the LN7 offered a unique driving experience. Lightweight, nimble in city traffic, and surprisingly refined for such a small car. Today, it's a rare collector's gem and a symbol of a bold design experiment that dared to be different. Number 8. Plymouth TC3. Technically debuting in 1979, the Plymouth TC3 remained largely unchanged into the early 80s and earned its forgotten status for blending in a little too well. This compact hatchback was Plymouth's answer to rising fuel prices and the demand for sportier-looking, efficient cars. It was based on the Dodge Omni platform, but featured more sloped fastback styling. The TC3 came with several four-cylinder engine options, including a 1.7-liter VW-sourced unit and Chrysler's 2.2-liter engine. Performance was mild at best. Most trims struggled to hit 60 miles per hour in under 12 seconds. But the TC3 wasn't about thrills. It was about cheap, stylish transportation with a sporty appearance. With options like alloy wheels and rear spoilers, it looked the part of a sports coupe even if it didn't fully perform like one. Today, it's often overlooked in classic car circles, but it represents an important era when American automakers pivoted toward compact efficiency. Number 7. 1982 Ford EXP. The Ford EXP was a bold experiment, a two-seater economy car aimed at young single drivers. Built on the Ford Escort platform, the EXP shared much of its mechanical underpinnings but dropped the back seat entirely in favor of a sleeker, sportier design. The 1982 model came with a 1.6-liter CVH engine, producing about 70 to 80 horsepower, paired with either a 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic. While its performance left much to be desired, the EXP made up for it with funky 80s charm. The design was aerodynamic for its time, with a sloped rear hatch and pop-up headlights in later versions. Despite the promise, the EXP didn't sell well. It was seen as underpowered and impractical by many buyers. Still, it carved a niche as a stylish commuter and now stands as a forgotten oddity of Ford's 80s lineup, one that dared to break the mold. Number 6. 1980 Mercury Capri RS. The 1980 Mercury Capri RS is perhaps one of the most underappreciated performance cars of the early 80s. While closely related to the Ford Mustang, the Capri RS stood apart with its European flair and Mercury-specific styling. This version came with a choice of engines, but the 5.0-liter V8 was the most desired, producing around 140 horsepower in its early iteration. The RS package added sporty air suspension, unique trim, and blackout accents that gave it an aggressive look. Though it shared the Fox body platform with the Mustang, the Capri RS was always slightly more upscale and visually distinctive thanks to its bubble-back rear glass introduced later. Drivers in 1980 praised it for solid performance and sharp handling, especially when equipped with the V8 and manual transmission. It was a true muscle car revival for a brand not typically associated with excitement. Sadly, its performance legacy was overshadowed by its Ford counterpart, but today it's a hidden treasure for enthusiasts. Number 5. 1983 to 84 Oldsmobile Hurst Olds. When Oldsmobile teamed up with Hurst Performance to release the 1983 to 84 Hurst Olds, it was a bold nod to muscle car tradition in an era increasingly defined by efficiency and restraint. Based on the G-body Cutlass, the Hurst Olds featured a distinctive silver and black, or black and silver, paint job with aggressive graphics, a bulging hood scoop, and one unforgettable feature: the lightning rod shifter system. 3 separate levers to control the automatic transmission like a race car. Under the hood was a 5.0-liter, 307 cubic inches V8 producing 180 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque, respectable for the early 80s. Only around 3,000 units were produced in 1983 and about 3,500 in 1984, making it rare even when new. While the car didn't set performance records, its presence was undeniable, cruising down boulevards with a raspy V8 growl and unmistakable retro muscle flair. Today, it's a forgotten but cherished chapter in the history of muscle rebirth. Number 4. Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. Born for NASCAR homologation, the 1986 to 87 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe is a sleek aerodynamic oddity that few outside racing circles remember. To meet racing regulations, Chevrolet needed to sell at least 200 street versions with a sloped rear window and extended deck lid to improve aerodynamics. What came out of that necessity was a street car that looked like it belonged on the track. The Aero Coupe came with a 5.0-liter HO Phi-8, pushing 180 horsepower, and was paired with a 4-speed automatic. While not blisteringly fast, its real strength was in the design, a smoother, wind-cutting silhouette optimized for speed on superspeedways. Only about 6,000 were ever made, and it stands today as a time capsule from when factory-built race cars roamed the streets. Its rarity and unique purpose make it one of the most fascinating forgotten American cars of the decade. Number 3. Dodge Shelby Charger. Carroll Shelby's influence wasn't limited to Mustangs. In the mid-80s, Dodge tapped into his performance expertise to spice up the humble Omni-based Charger. The result? The Dodge Shelby Charger. Lightweight, nimble, and turbocharged, this car surprised everyone with its athleticism. By 1985, the turbocharged 2.2-liter 4-cylinder made 146 horsepower, more than enough in a 2,500-pound package. With special Shelby badging, unique alloy wheels, sport suspension, and aerodynamic upgrades, it looked the part too. Drivers loved its zippy handling and quick acceleration, especially compared to more bloated 80s coupes. It may have been front-wheel drive, but it had real bite and brought back a bit of that Shelby magic. Today, the Shelby Charger is largely forgotten, but in its time, it was a rebellious underdog. Number 2. 1981 Chevrolet Citation X11. It's hard to believe the Chevrolet Citation was once a bestseller, but the X11 variant was GM's attempt to inject sportiness into the controversial front-drive platform. The 1981 Citation X11 had a performance-tuned suspension, rally gauges, unique exterior styling, and a 2.8-liter V6 under the hood, delivering around 135 horsepower, a decent number in 1981. It wasn't perfect. Torque steer was a real issue, and the chassis struggled to handle aggressive driving, but it proved GM could try something bold and different. The X11 also competed in SCCA events, making it one of the few front-drive compacts to wear a performance badge in the early 80s. Time hasn't been kind to the Citation's reputation, but the X11 deserves a second look as an ambitious, forgotten outlier in GM history. Number 1. 1987 Buick GNX. The 1987 Buick GNX wasn't just a forgotten forgotten car. It was a secret weapon. Developed with McLaren performance technologies, the GNX took the already fearsome Grand National to another level. Under the hood was a turbocharged and intercooled 3.8-liter V6 producing 276 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, but those were conservative numbers. In reality, it could outrun Ferraris and Corvettes, doing 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds. Only 547 units were made, making it one of the rarest and most powerful American cars of the decade. Blacked out from every angle, it looked as menacing as it drove. Car and Driver called it Darth Vader's car, and that dark legend still holds. It was the swan song of the rear-wheel drive Regal and a final blast of pure American turbocharged muscle. The GNX wasn't just fast, it was a force of nature, and in 1987, it was absolutely unmatched.